What's up guys, Drew here with another Tone Talk, and today is going to be kind of a spin-off from the first Strymon Iridium video that I put out, where I was kind of just going through my thoughts and comments upon its initial release. And now I've actually had the chance to get hands-on with the Strymon Iridium, play it in-home in the studio and actual live situations. And I gotta say guys, I'm completely impressed. Now I'm not surprised by that because like I said in the last video, everything that Strymon puts out, they put a lot of thought into it. And I'm pretty sure I played the Strymon Iridium a couple of years ago at their Strymon Social, and we were just plugging into all their boards at their actual location here in California, and it was just this like silver box that we were plugging our headphones into. They said, oh, that's just for amp sims, and so I mean, if that's the case, then they've been working on this for years and they knocked it out of the park. This thing is amazing. And now, like I said in the last video, I definitely believe that this specific pedal is designed for people that want that experience of plugging into an amp but they get to go direct, or people that have a full-size pedal board and they just want to go direct in to maybe their PA or just a recording system. It works perfect for that. Now in comparison to the HX Stomp, again, I still believe after playing with it for a while, they're two completely different beasts that can do somewhat of the same things, which is the amp modeling. But the HX Stomp goes so much further beyond that that I think it puts it in a different category. So if you're someone looking for just amp modeling, I think if you went the HX Stomp route, you would just be totally underutilizing the potential there. And the Strymon Iridium would just be perfect. It's a smaller, I believe it does take less power, and it's just super simple to dial in. And I think that's one of the main strengths of the Strymon Iridium. And I'm going to get into some sound samples here quickly. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. The main strength is just the way you can approach it like an actual amp. The other day, my buddy Ian and I went to Sam Ash in Hollywood, and he was sitting there for maybe 10-15 minutes plugging around with an actual tube amp. And I sat down with the Iridium and just an FRFR speaker, and within 2 minutes, I had one of the most beautiful Vox AC30 tones I've ever played through. Now, surprisingly, just like a real amp, I preferred it at the end of my pedal board. That's one of the cool things about going direct is you can either run your amps before or post wet effects. And now, the reason you would do this is because you get a different tonal experience doing either one. Now, I prefer in the HX Stomp my wet effects after the HX Stomp. Or the amps of the HX Stomp. But with the Strymon Iridium, I actually preferred using it like an amp, just running my pedal board into the amp which is just the Strymon Iridium. I think it sounded great. It was articulate, beautiful. I mean, you'll hear it right now. I'm gonna actually play it like that. I'm gonna run all my pedals into the Iridium, and then you're gonna kind of hear an A/B between just the Iridium amp and then the HX Stomp coming back in, and I'll turn the Iridium off. So you can kind of just hear the way I set it up. Now, I don't have any IRs loaded into the Iridium. I really wanted to go for that straight out of box feel. What are you gonna get out of this compared to the work that I've been putting in the HX Stomp to try to get a really good tone? And now something I'd like to mention before I get to those sound samples is I was so impressed with the Vox AC30 setting in the Iridium that I actually switched my HX Stomp amp to an AC30 Fawn, and I've been playing with that, and I love it. I've never played Voxes before. I mean, I have, but I've never like chosen it as a go-to amp. And now I'm just like, man, I love this sound, and that's because of the ease of use that the Iridium brought to the table. And I was able to dial in that tone, like I said, within 2 minutes, and I've been playing with it ever since. Alright, so enough of me talking, let's get right to those sound samples. Alright guys, so this is just going to be my clean tone. I'm running into the amps of the HX Stomp first. This is kind of my norm, so I'll do that first, and then we'll get on to the sounds of the Iridium. So I have the Jackson Audio Bloom compressor on, the Chime Mark II from Petty John, straight into the HX Stomp, and then with a little reverb. The reverb is going to be the same, whether it's using the HX Stomp amp or the Iridium amp. Alright, and this is what my clean tone sounds like. Alright, so again, that is the Vox AC30. I am using an own hammer 10 and 12 combination speaker. of a tweed cabinet with Jensen speakers. So if you're wondering, hit me up in the comments and I'll actually show you exactly which one I got and which one I'm using. Alright, and now we are going through the Iridium, and you might be hearing a slight, like 60 cycle hum type sound. That is because but it's not that noticeable when you're playing. It's not noticeable at all, really. I just have headphones on, so maybe it's just amplified because of that. Anyways, I'm using the chime amp on the C cab, and that's been my favorite so far. There's 2 other cabs in here, and then per amp there's 3 cabs. So definitely experiment, and you'll find the one that speaks to you. This one just stood out to me the most. My bass is right around 10 o'clock. My mid is back around like 9 o'clock. My treble's right at 12. Room, it's a small room setting, and then that's right around 9, 10 o'clock. Alright, so drive is up around 1 o'clock, and that's the settings. Here's the tone. Alright, so I gotta say, man, I'm so impressed with the amp tones of the Iridium. It just sounds gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. If I had to pick one of the 2 just for amps, me personally, I would go with the Iridium. Just because it's so easy to dial in a tone. Now, whether that information is of value to you, I don't know, but it definitely it makes you want to put the Iridium on my board and use that for my amp tone, because you can still I am running everything stereo, so once I go into the HX Stomp, everything goes stereo, even to the Iridium, and then even to my recording interface, and I'm running a right and left channel hard pan. Alright, so I'm just going to play a little bit more and then kind of cycle between the 2 so that way you guys can just really hear them back to back. And again, this isn't like a one-to-one comparison. It's just like, and let me just say, they both sound absolutely phenomenal. They both sound amazing, especially in a live situation. Like, no one's gonna come up to you and be like, oh man, I really would have loved your sound, but you should have used the Iridium, or vice versa. Oh, you should have used the HX Stomp amps. No one's gonna do that, man, unless they're like some really nitpicky studio engineer or whatever. But how likely is that to happen? Anyways, like I said, if I had to pick one just for amps, it would be the Iridium. I think it just sounds so clear, and it's just so easy to dial in a great amp tone. It's the HX Stomp, you definitely have to dig in a little bit, and it takes some learning and getting used to, and how the parameters adjust. Anyways, here's the tones. So again, they both sound good in their own right. Honestly, we live in such a cool time, man. I mean, to even be getting close to the tones that I'm getting out of either of these boxes is blowing me away. Because it's just, we're lucky, man. We're definitely lucky. So you guys, I'm just going to cut the video right there. There's plenty of videos I think Jonathan Cordy, he has a bunch of videos with the Iridium and the HX Stomp. I highly recommend his channel. Go check him out. These are just, again, my final thoughts actually having played with Iridium. I think it's great. If you have a pedal board and you're looking for a direct in solution, this is the way to go. For me, I'm going to keep the HX Stomp. It does so much more for me than just amps. So I'm not done with it yet. Maybe that might change in the future, but as of right now, I'm loving the HX Stomp, man. It's just giving me amazing tones. I played earlier tonight at a church, and I wish you guys could be there, man. I wish you guys could be there, because it's insane, man. I'm getting some of the best tones I've ever had, and I don't even have an amp on the stage. Alright, guys, so I'm just going to play a little bit more out, jump back to the Iridium, and yeah, call it a night. Kindly remember that those verbs are coming from the HX Stomp. That's a big part of why I'm keeping it. Guys, got a lot more videos to come. As you can see, the Jet Micro is on my board, amongst the Petty John and the Bloom, and the Tapestry Audio Bloomery. All new things. So, got a lot to talk about in the next coming weeks. Stay tuned.